business. It's business time. Hang tight, we're gonna get into the business right here in a couple minutes. Baby, baby. It's business. It's business time. All right, we are here at Stitch House Brewery, week 12 of It's Business Time. Very, very pleased to welcome Miss Sara A. Crawford to It's Business Time. Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
The proprietor, the manager, the booking agent, whatever you want to, you name it. She's got it from MKT Place Gallery.
Yes.
Wonderful. So I'm looking forward to getting rolling. I have a bunch of questions for you. Before we do, I always do want to give a quick shout out for Stitch House. Thank you for having us. Stitch House is right here on Market Street. They have 12 beers on tap. They got great food. I currently am finishing off their Oktoberfest. So make sure to come through, support your local businesses. And again, thank you, Stitch House, for having us. And with that, we are rolling here. So Sara, it's been, almost 2 weeks since I was at the last event there at MKT Place Gallery.
Absolutely.
That was Harvey Road and G-Dash. Is that who it was?
G-Dash Jones and Harvey Road. Yep.
G-Dash Jones. Now, I actually met G-Dash months ago, maybe 6-7 months ago, when he did something similar at MKT Place Gallery with Ty.
Oh, yeah, with Ty Mathis. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that is he's got a very unique, approach to entertainment, right? It's something you can't get anywhere else.
No, very much so. And it fits with the scope of my vision for I say MKT Place, everybody says Market, but MKT Place Gallery, because I find that we have such a tunnel vision idea of what art is. And although it is an art gallery first and foremost, I want to be able to open up the space for other artistries as well.
Right.
So especially unique artistries.
Yeah. And so, you've definitely had a lot of unique artists there, and that's really one of the reasons that place jumped out at me. One of the reasons I wanted to reach out to you in the first place, because there's so much growth happening here on Market Street over the last couple years, and I was excited to bring you on to kind of to as someone who's contributing some of that unique stuff. Do you mind, let's go back to the beginning. Do you mind telling a little bit of kind of how you found your way to MKT Place Gallery?
So I always say I am the fashion girl because my background is in fashion design and marketing. Okay. So again, another creative artistry. I went from being the fashion girl who went to nonprofit world. And as I was in the nonprofit world, I still was being very much a creative. And when COVID hit, obviously the world had shut down, and a lot of us weren't able to, be together. We weren't able to do events. So I actually co-founded a collective, and we were bringing a bunch of creatives together. And we were doing photo shoots, and we were doing art exhibitions once the world kind of opened up a little bit, and things of that nature, so that we could keep these creators afloat with content, so they could still connect with their current customer base and grow new customer base online. And then again, as the world opened up, we started with the art exhibitions. We thought it would be a great way to bring people in now that we can kind of be back together, with masks and things of that nature. So when we started doing the art exhibitions, we were doing them at MKT Place. And over a period of time, they got buzz, you got some press around it, things of that nature. And one day, BPG reached out and they said, hey, you've been doing these things here. We really love it. How do you feel about maybe managing the space? And at the time I had a full-time job, and and I still have a full-time job, but a different full-time job. And I was like, oh boy, what am I about to get myself into? But I pride myself on always being able to be a resource, not only to my community, but very much for the entrepreneurs and the creatives and the artists and all of those things. So it just made sense, and I was already doing it. So that's kind of how I kind of got in there.
Got you. So you were running kind of like a creatives group. Is that
Oh, no. So that was the original Color Collective.
Oh, the original Color.
We did that during COVID. We're no longer doing that.
Gotcha.
And then as time went on, I moved into a space that's similar, which is Blondie Mansion, because that's what you were about to talk about. Yeah, so Blondie Mansion.
I didn't want to jump too far ahead too soon.
You want me? I'm like, we want to do Blondie Mansion?
Let's save Blondie Mansion
for
one moment. I was kind of trying to help walk. So this series is largely for new entrepreneurs, business owners, and kind of people who are like they're looking to walk a new path,
right?
And they don't know quite where to go, who to talk to, you know. So
right.
so the early stages of how entrepreneurs kind of find themselves in. I don't want to necessarily say positions of power, but you know what I mean, like positions of presence, positions where they can actually make change in their community, things like that.
Right.
So we'll definitely get to Blondie Mansion in a moment. As an entrepreneur myself, I'm super excited about that. But yeah, just a little bit more. So you had a collective, you started booking events here in this space, and then the BPG reached out to you and said, "We love what you've been doing. Can you continue doing that?"
So as I started to do that, and once they asked me, I started thinking about all of the things that I would like to do in the space. And that's like a kid in the candy store for me.
Right.
So I almost had to reel it in a little bit like,
Right,
okay,
right.
now wait a minute. Because I get really excited about it, because I do think that the artist community here is large, but it's still kind of small. But, you know, wanting to give people an opportunity, and that's really what I'm about. But I do think that one of the most important parts about opportunity is making sure that you're ready for the opportunity.
Right.
So I definitely am fostering that as well. So, you know, always wanting to monthly have a different artist in there. Sometimes they stay for 2 or 3 months, depending on the exhibition. And then wanting to make sure that I have other programming going on to bring people out so they can also see the art. So that's how we ended up with like the live shows in the gallery and things of that nature. We've also had like a balloon artist in there, which is very different. We had Chef Gerald Allen in there. He did like a whole culinary experience.
Right.
So, you know, but again, tunnel vision on art, people think art is just hanging on a wall.
Right.
When in actuality, art is literally everywhere.
Right.
So I just think that, you know, my vision is a little different, a little unconventional for a regular art gallery, but I don't see it as a regular art gallery.
Got you. So for branding, you said MKT Gallery. I said Market Gallery.
So it's MKT Place Gallery.
MKT Place.
But people call it Marketplace Gallery too.
Right.
Probably because it's right around the corner from Market Street.
Got you. You know what's funny is what's funny is when I was in there, and so I want to get to this in a minute, but the way that it's laid out it's unique. Like you have vendors, you have chefs, all that. And so when I first went there, I was thinking, oh, it's like marketplace, like it's a marketplace in its own little market.
That makes sense.
But MKT Place Gallery for the branding there, check it out. Obviously, I'm gonna put it in post. MKT Place Gallery. But yeah, do you mind telling me a little bit, like, where did you come up with the idea to do these live events, and then also kind of you brought in some vendors? It's almost like a mini festival when you do those.
Yeah, so I actually have a festival that I do in the summer called Visual Vibes Art Fest.
Okay.
Where we bring all the different artistries.
Can people find that online?
Yes, on SaraACrawford.com.
All right, check it out.
So with that festival, that's where that was the first festival I did. And I really just wanted to really bring different type of artistries. So there were vendors, and there was a balloon artist in there. So that was like a whole thing in itself.
Yeah.
Then what else did we have? We had a bunch of different culinary artists. We partnered with some of the other creators on 9th Street. So we just had a lot of different things going on. But one of the things I really knew we had live music. I wanted to add bands for the next go around. So what I started looking to do was to kind of lead up to the next one is to start doing some live things in the gallery, so they would kind of anticipate and know what was going to also be included in the Visual Vibe Fest as well.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense.
And the vendors goes to that particular show I help curate, but that really is, G-Jones event and Harvey Rhodes event.
Okay.
And one of the things they wanted to do was be able to bring vendors in, some of the local vendors, and be able to promote their business alongside of them. So
yeah, I love the flexibility for one, and just anything unique. Like, I've been doing events for 20 years, and anything that's like, wow, you don't see this much, just always gets my curiosity. So in this process of bringing these folks in, doing these different sorts of events, different vendors, different artists, all those kind of the plethora, if you will. But is there a way that you kind of like link up with these people? Is it all just kind of community based referrals? Have you had to go on hunts for folks much, or
not really. So, as I was saying earlier, my background started in fashion, and then obviously I'm an entrepreneur. I was in the fashion world, kind of in the artist world, and then I moved into the nonprofit sector. So I was the director of the Women's Business Center at True Access Capital for 7 years.
Okay.
I was with the company for 8, so I just most recently moved out of that space into full-time entrepreneurship. So that was the space I was in that really grew my list and friend list and contact list of vendors and small business owners. So I think that's where it started. And then just being out in the community, being out in the community, you meet different business owners and people like that. Right. So it just kind of happened that way.
Yeah. No, that definitely. No, you're good. Have a good one. This is one of the fun parts about doing stuff live. We're doing it live. But yeah, so a lot of it came from your past experience. And I'm sorry, that was a little distracted there. What was your last job where you were?
So I was the director of the Women's Business Center.
The Women's Business Center
at True Access Capital.
Okay,
they're in the community service building on 10th Street. So again, talking about resources and everything. That's what I did for 8 years, is be a resource to the community and to the small business owners, and I still wanted to be able to do that, but just do it in a more creative way. You have layers and layers and layers. I'm glad layers to my onion, layers.
I know. I'm very glad I met you too, because you've already done so much of the things that I would like to be doing in the future. I actually grew up right here on Broome Street myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so getting more involved in the community, providing resources, providing things for people starting a business. That's a lot of what this series is about. Is I was trying to think where can I kind of start to bring people together and offer resources.
For me, I tell people all the time, don't think that I just jumped in and it all fell together, because it doesn't work like that. It does take time, but I do find that partnerships and relationships are very important. So I know some people are very introverted. They don't want to go out and network and talk, but I do believe that is a key. That's a key. That's one of the keys anyway. Just talking about what you do, and you never know what door that's going to open. Yeah. So it's
true. Being uncomfortable. Getting used to being uncomfortable is probably one of the most important parts of networking.
Embrace the uncomfortableness.
In fact, Stitch House does every third Tuesday of the month. They do a business networking event here. Okay. It's powered by King Creative.
Yes.
And they have great people come through. Every time I come, I'll say hi to one or two of the people I know. And then I'll have to muster something within me. I'll say, these people only meet once a month. Make sure to talk to everyone here in the room. Trade the business cards, do all that, and that's coming from someone who's, I would say I'm on the scale of extroverted and all that, and I still have to muster. I still have to be come on, Aaron, it's time to go say hi.
I mean, I don't care how extroverted you are. It is a little weird to just walk up to you, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
It's I don't know you.
What's your deal?
Yeah, so what do you do? It is a little uncomfortable. It's a little strange, but I definitely think it's a necessary tool.
Absolutely. Yeah, the network, I mean, particularly in this series, there's been a lot of businesses where I ask them the question. So you seem like pro networker, so this question's probably not for you, but I asked a lot of people in this series, what's it like growing up in Delaware? Because on one hand, it's a small market, right? So it's easy to meet people. On the other hand, it's a small market. So how do you keep finding customers and clients and things like that?
I really, truly, it's funny that you said that, because I always say Delaware is a small yet open market, because we haven't been exposed to everything and everyone. Yeah. There's always room for new things. So believe it or not, there are a lot of people that I do see in a repeat. In a lot of spaces, but there's a lot of spaces I'm always meeting someone new. Right. And I'm just like, okay, so you do go to places and you can find someone new. Right. So I really try to pride myself on not going to the majority of who I know. Because that's the easy thing to do. You go hang out with the people you're familiar with. So I try to always kind of go into a circle where there's someone I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's good for the brain, for sure. It's good, good for the keeping the wheels going. Yeah. I do tell people, though, when you're starting a business, friends and family, practice your pitch on the people that love you. Absolutely. Sometimes, and I do this a lot when I have a phone script or something. Mm-hmm. I'll just call random people not
so
the
funny.
people I actually want to talk to,
Right.
because I need to get all those jitters out. I need to get all that
I
stuff
love that.
out.
That's a
you
great
know?
idea. Somebody's probably mad about it, but it's a great
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. But somebody's always mad. You know, I remind them, I'm like, look, you're being attacked by commercials every which way. I'm a regular guy just asking questions.
I think that is a great. I love that idea. And you know, I used to tell people practice in the mirror, and like you said, family and friends.
Yeah.
And be open to criticisms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, one thing I know that I do, is the and I am always trying to work on that. I used to have a counselor that I worked with at the Women's Business Center. And he told me, you know, instead of saying, just be quiet. And it is the hardest thing. So I try to practice that.
Yeah.
He said, just stop and just think about what you're trying to say. And sometimes it really worked. But when you on a roll, the it's just easy just to roll off the tongue.
It's true.
So it's just like things like that. If you constantly, in your mind, you're like, I want to be intentional about working on this thing, you know, and definitely your pitch is important.
Yeah.
And just don't go on a tangent.
Totally.
Hit them with the meat and potatoes.
Yep.
The 1, 2, 3, and that's it.
You know, that's a great segue into a lot of the other tools that Delaware has available to small business folks. You know, we had Jean Kress from Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce at one point. She was talking about how they do like these pitch meetings.
Yep.
Where you go in and try and give like a
Open
quick
for business.
Yeah,
Yep.
open for business.
Open
yeah,
for
exactly.
business.
Yeah, you're definitely in the mix. No question about that. But yeah, and I love that idea because everybody. You know, everybody knows that they should do that. They should practice their elevator pitch. Sometimes you only have 45 seconds with someone who's very, very important to the growth of your business.
Yeah.
And in those 45 seconds, you don't want to be doing and you're not there to give a speech. You're just there to connect to them quickly.
It's a way to tease them, to pull them in.
Yeah, exactly.
Then once you get them in, then you can talk all you want.
Right, exactly.
You know, Delaware Prosperity for Startup 302 is an initiative they do. They do have a pitch class coming up, so you have to go online because I don't remember the date.
I'll check it out. I'll put it right here.
And the Women's Business Center at True Access Capital also has a pitch class.
Okay.
So you actually write your pitch, and then you're practicing it with the group. And that's really... that's taught by Ellen Herbert of the SBA, the district office in Delaware. And it's really important because people don't even actually know how to write the pitch, let alone say the pitch.
Right.
So breaking it down so you know the key things you're supposed to say, really important.
Yeah.
Really important.
Yeah. As someone who spent a couple years in sales, I hear all the time, I'm not a sales guy. Well, yeah, I know, like none of us are naturally. So you gotta lean into it. You gotta really. Some have a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah.
But it does come to that. Practice your pitch, and just go up to people.
And I find that even for me, it changes all the time. Like I said a few times, I don't really like the way it sounds.
Yeah.
So I will, restructure it. I add things, I take away things, and I kind of look at it like a business plan. It's a living, breathing thing, so it should always be kind of evolving and changing. So,
absolutely. That actually might be a decent segue, the evolving pitch into. So tell me a little bit. So you're a multifaceted entrepreneur here.
I am. I don't know how this happened.
You got your full-time job. You're managing MKT Place Gallery, and then also you have Blondie Mansion.
Yeah. So Blondie Mansion probably was born about 4 or 5 years ago. It actually started out as just kind of like an adult, I used to call it an adult playhouse. Because I felt like kids get everything and adults needed a place to kind of just be. Right. And then I still included, all of these fun things like a bar and great food. And it was always themed and all these things. I had a scratch and sniff wall one time, the whole nine.
Yeah, the Willy Wonka.
Yes, Willy Wonka. So, as time went on, I wanted it to be more impactful. I wanted it to be more purposeful. And I think the play part of it is great because it helps with the collaboration of learning and meeting people and actually being an ecosystem for other vendors and artists here in Delaware. And I have kept that part, but I wanted to continue my work in the community as being a resource.
Yeah.
So what I did was I started adding the things that creatives need. And I always say small business owners because creatives are not that different from small business owners. Right. They just got a little bit more frilly, frou-frou. Yeah. And so, finances is huge.
Right.
And mindset, learning and knowing your worth is huge.
Right.
And I find that those are very much lacking in that creative space. And I wish that a lot of them knew the worth so they could understand the money and they just kind of go hand in hand and, understanding their branding and things of that nature. So I really wanted to build a space of resource. So when I had Blondie Mansion weekend in September, and we talked about all of those things, and our panelists were great. They gave tricks and tips, and we didn't gatekeep. I was like, you can't gatekeep on my stage. You gotta tell the truth, you know.
Right.
Because I do find that people gatekeep a lot.
yeah, it does happen for sure. I being in the arts and music space myself, I've said this sentence too many times, which is I'm not here for competition. I'm here for collaboration. But it is a world, particularly right outside these walls. We have
Literally.
65% of the world's corporations are right here. The lawyers that support them, the financial folks, the CPAs, all the folks that support that enterprise, they're right outside the doors. And you talk to them for 15, 20 minutes, they'll open up, right? They have so much knowledge, but you have to get through that first, normally I charge corporations, $500 an hour for consulting.
Right.
I'm just sitting here now telling you all this stuff for free. But
Right.
I can already tell I'm going to be reaching out to you a lot.
Yeah.
You seem like a great resource. This is so cool. I'm so glad that Mike suggested I give you a call.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, but it was cool because we were talking on the street out in front of MKT Place Gallery that night, getting to know each other a little bit, but you were in the middle of kind of bopping around talking to a million people.
Always.
So it's good to kind of bring it all full circle.
Yeah.
But so in the interest of time here, I do want these conversations to be digestible, right around 20 minutes or so. Before we wrap up, we have Marketplace Gallery. You can check out everything you need to right here. We have Blondie Mansion. Well, let me give it a little time. So Marketplace Gallery, absorb. And then we also have Blondie Mansion. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that you want to give a shout out to, or anything else coming up that you might have? This will drop here on Friday. So anything in December or anything like that?
So we do have an opening coming Friday.
Okay.
For a she's more of an acrylic artist, acrylic painter artist. Miss Shy Stiletto. So she's opening on Friday. January, where we're still working it out with the artist, but January and February, but March is Women's History Month. But for our artists there, I'm going to be working with Velvet Poindexter, and we're going to do a glow in the dark.
Nice.
Event. So it's gonna be a whole vibe. She does this great sand art that's glow in the dark.
Really?
And
wow.
Yeah. So
right here is it Orange Street? It's on.
The gallery
Yeah.
is on 9th and Orange Street.
9th and Orange,
Yep.
yeah.
So we're going to do it in there.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do like my whole thing with curation as far as the decor and everything. I'll be glow in the dark. It's going to be really fun.
Wow. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it. You said that's March.
That's March, yeah.
Gotcha.
And I will be talking about some other things we're doing in January, February. But guys, people's schedules, they worried about the Christmas tree right now. So I got to let them live a little bit.
I understand. I understand. Just so I can make sure to put the picture of who is the artist who's going to be presenting this Friday and who's going to be in the gallery.
That is Shy Stiletto.
Shy Stiletto. So check out Shy here. I think I saw the promo for that when we were kind of crisscrossing on the medias. But awesome. Well, it has been so fun, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining. I definitely
thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm definitely going to have you back too as well.
Please.
So thanks again for coming
so
out. Thank you for Stitch House for having us. And that wraps up week 12 of It's Business Time. Have a great holiday.